Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Firearms Training Central podcast. I still haven't come up with a snappier name than that, but it'll come to me. Usually does. This is Isaac Chase, owner and director of everything at firearmstrainingcentral.com. And today, episode 2, I am bringing you an interview with Robert Lyons, the founder and creator of TrainingSightscom. If you're not familiar with TrainingSights.com or their product, you should go check it out right now. What they make are training aids for instructors to teach students how to visualize their sight picture in a very simple way. They've created these plastic plexiglass, they're pretty rigid plastic sheets with the sights of the pistol or rifle or even scope or red dot. And you can easily overlay what the sight picture looks like or should look like for the student. And that can be anything from normal sight alignment to errors. So if you're holding it a little off to the right, you could say, your shots are going right. If you're holding it to the left or up or down, you can tell them where their shots are going to end up if their sight picture is not correct. And they also make, like I said, red dot sights that you can explain how a holographic sight works for a student. They have scope sights, scope reticles that you can use to demonstrate what your holdover would look like at different distances. And they're really easy to see. They're very versatile and they're very convenient. They have full-size sheets that you might use for if you're demonstrating this for a lot of people in a big group. They have these pocket-sized sheets, which might fit in a cargo pocket or something like that. And then they have the wallet-sized sheets, which pretty self-explanatory. It's about the size of what goes in your wallet. And you can use these different training aids to show your students what they should be doing or what they're doing wrong. And they're very rigid, definitely seem like they're going to hold up over time, and they're American-made products. I could go on, but you should just go check out their website and take a look. I got really excited about these when I saw these. Originally, I saw them demonstrated on Wes Doss's YouTube page over there at Kyber Training Group. So when I saw these, I got really excited. I did my own research and found out what these things cost, which is also what got me excited because they're really affordable for what they are. They really should do a very good job at helping instructors cut down on spending time explaining something that's really hard to explain for people who just aren't getting it. As an instructor, if you're trying to explain sight picture to somebody, you have to either draw it on the target or use your fingers, but it doesn't do a very good job of helping the student visualize what the problem is or what they should be seeing. And that's what these do. And it's a pretty simple, straightforward product, but I think it would have a very profound effect on instructors trying to help students understand. And that will go for beginner students all the way up to advanced when you get into the reticles and you start talking about holdovers and point of aim, point of impact, things like that. So without any further ado, I'm going to play this interview for you. And let's hear it. Okay, I'm here with Robert Lyons of TrainingSights.com. Is it TrainingSights.com or just TrainingSights? What's the name of the company?
Well, we went with TrainingSights.com. We wanted to keep it easy. We put that on all of our products, but we go by both.
Okay. All right. So if anybody wants to find you, TrainingSights.com. So Robert, I was trying to do a little research on you, but like you said, you're not a big or you haven't in the past been a big social media person, so I couldn't find much background. So I thought I'd ask you just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time in the military, a significant amount of time. It was all in the Marine Corps, and my time in the Marine Corps was spent on the infantry-related fields through riflemen, and then I ended my career in the recon and MARSOC fields. And now, after I got out of active duty, I am an instructor at Camp Pendleton, and I teach the guys that I used to work with.
Okay, and are you currently still in the military, or did you separate and come back as a contractor?
Yeah, so I came back as a full-time contractor with it's for military guys who are Marines. They probably recall it like it's was called Special Operations Training Group. They changed the name a little bit, but it's still pretty much the same thing. Where we train and certify the force recon platoons about to go down range.
Okay. So your product is a training aid well, I should say products, but it's a series of products that are a training aid for instructors that that kind of create a larger picture of what your sight picture looks like, whether you're using iron sights or red dots or scopes. Where did this idea come from for you?
It was just being a field grade instructor. So everybody knows, anybody who's taught people knows that, we're trying to get our point across, and we're trying to come up with our own training aids, whether we're doing our fingers or we're drawing on the targets or we're doing all that stuff. And, and it's kind of frustrating. You want to get your point across, and sometimes it's frustrating for the student. So initially it started with the pistol training sights, where we actually painted it on some plexiglass, and we started using that and getting a lot of really good feedback. The students were bringing it. The students were reacting to it well. And then just like anything else, it helped us get our point across as fast as possible, because if we don't get that out, we're going to start losing our client. They're going to start, especially Marines, they're going to start chewing on rocks and becoming disinterested pretty quick. So you got to get it out pretty quick. So we started with the pistol, and that got a lot of great feedback for talking about sight alignment, sight picture, and some of some other things that are sometimes difficult to explain. And then we carried that on to like the dot and we were using the EOTech at the time, so we did an EOTech, and that morphed into trying to teach like holdover, or whatever you want to call it, bore sight relation, optical offset. It's been called a million things. And so we started doing that, and it just paints the picture immediately. So then we can cater to all those learning types at the same time. When you got the guy who needs to touch something, you hand him that and you say, hey, tell me where you want to hold. And you got the visual guy and you say, you're going to hold here, and he nods his head, or you can, the guy in the back, he can listen. We're hitting all these people at the same time, which was which paid huge dividends for us. So then, my experience was in MARSOC as well, and it kind of brought it into perspective when we're doing like a lot of foreign internal defense is what they call it, where you're trying to teach people who don't have English as the primary language. And one of the things that I wanted to push out to these guys was defeating language barriers as well. So now, instead of going through an interpreter and then trying to get him to explain a point, we can actually use that to, say, make your sights look like this, and they all nod their heads, and it keeps all the conversations and interpretations down, which anybody who's done that before, even if it's, some of our law enforcement guys or military guys who don't speak English as a primary, sometimes, it pays dividends with those guys too. So after all of this testing, so to speak, and feedback, we started making these things, and it's been a great experience. We've had a lot of people show interest in it, and we started pushing them out and marketing them.
So how old is the company itself, since you formed the company and actually started producing these products for other instructors?
So the company itself is it's only a couple months old now. I think we officially launched in August. So in that short amount of time, it's been a pretty great experience. I'd been using these in the past with our homemade ones, or the ones that I had professionally made through my manufacturer, and the buildup of this company. But the actual launch of the company is about 3 months old.
Right on.
A little less than that.
So you're already seeing quite a bit of good feedback. I wanted to say at the beginning of this interview may kind of sound like a commercial because I'm going to be talking about how cool this product is, but I personally, I get excited about training aids for instructors that are really effective, that simplify things, that break things down for students in a way that they can understand quickly and gain that proficiency more quickly. And so when I saw your product, I got excited. I sent you an email through your website immediately. I was like, I got to talk to this guy. So if it sounds like a commercial, it's not, but it may as well be, because I'm so excited about this. So you're only a few months old. I've already started seeing your product all over the place on Instagram and YouTube. Are you working with instructors you already know? Are you having instructors reach out to you? Are you just selling a whole bunch of these things and they're just showing up on social media?
Well, initially this was influenced from instructors throughout the nation. The job that I have as the training branch for these guys that I work with, I had the luxury of traveling. We were always looking for the best techniques and the best new shooting techniques, and we try to take whatever pieces of information from all of these agencies, from federal guys to adjacent special operations guys or law enforcement, SWAT, and it just so turned out that every group that I'd go with, I absolutely love feedback. I'm always trying to improve products. I'm trying to stay cutting edge on that sense of things with tactics and with our company. And so thankfully, every guy that I would ask, I would say, hey man, try these out, see if you like them. What's your take on this? And they tell me, have you ever thought about this? Well, I have now, and now I'm going to do it. So this is, no kidding, been influenced by instructors all throughout the United States. And so they were kind of the guys who helped me to this, and they got me in contact with a lot of their friends. But then after the product launch, it caught on big time. And now there's guys reaching out to me, such as yourself, that I've never met before, and just giving me killer feedback and helping me push this thing. And it's been growing fast, and it's been a really great experience.
Well, that's great. So the next question I was going to ask is what the reception has been from the instructors who've adopted this, and it sounds like it's been really positive. What kind of feedback have you gotten from them that you have then incorporated into, improving your product? If you can give me any examples.
Yeah, so I have multiple sizes. So one of them was I had I was looking at doing the cargo pocket size and things like that, and one of the guys, his name's Mike Keeble. He's with the Team RSF shooting team, and I went out to one of his courses. He's also an air marshal instructor, and he was like, "Hey man, have you ever thought about wallet size ones?" So I went, "No," and now that's one of our, those are floating around everywhere. People have really loved those for teaching people on a one-to-one basis. That's a great example. Another one was, for example, when we're talking about the windows of optics, and we're looking through a window of an optic and there's a dot there. I know parallax is minimal, but people have said, "Hey, have you ever thought about making the actual window to the optic so you can show where your dot's supposed to be, or what happens if you're seeing this, or if it's if you're encountering parallax of some sort." I didn't have that. That's being made right now.
So that would be like another overlay. So you have the window slide, so to speak, and then you have the dot slide, and then you can move the window around the dot.
Yep, exactly. So, for example, what the instructors have been doing, I don't know if you'll be able to see these, but see, we have a dot just like this. That doesn't look very good, but we have a dot just like this, and now this is just a rifle rear sight, so now you can kind of show where that dot is floating within that window of that optic now too. Mm-hmm. I just improvised with the rear sight of the iron sights, but now I'm actually producing ones that resemble like an EOTech, for example, and what resemble the different sights that heavy hitters are using actually downrange who do this for a living.
Right on. That's very cool. So your product line is you're producing all of your different versions of your product in several different sizes. You have the full size, the cargo pocket size, the wallet size, and these things are priced really reasonably. I'm assuming they don't cost a whole lot to make. And when I saw, I was looking at your site and I saw your prices, and I was like, this is, I'm a part-time instructor. I do, low-level concealed carry, defensive pistol type stuff, defensive rifle. And I know from instructors who work in smaller markets, cost is a big issue. And so you have set your cost or your prices at a level where really any instructor can afford to pick these things up and see a massive benefit from them. Again, sounding like a commercial, but I see a lot of products hit the market where people are very proud of their of their product, and they kind of put it in a price range that's outside of what an instructor can afford.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's good you asked that, because I'm one of those guys who started from the ground up. I didn't design this thing just off a whim or off of watching stuff. Like I said, I started I was the guy cutting out cardboard and doing everything else and painting these onto other things. So coming from the ground up, I know what it's like to be in that situation, those shoes, and unfortunately, military and big law enforcement isn't always going to buy these for the guys. But the instructor wants to be the best that he can be, but there's not always funding that backs that up. So if a guy wants to pick these up, I just want to bring more responsible shooters to the shooting industry. And if that means all the way down from a special ops guy or a SWAT guy, so on and so forth, to an NRA instructor teaching people in whatever state, they can get the point across. They can teach safe and responsible shooters and add to the community in that sense.
Yeah, that's really cool. A lot of instructors operate on a very small budget just because it's difficult to fill classes. And I know from experience that when you get hung up on one particular learning point, like sight alignment, and it just feels like it slows the class down, and there's a lot of new shooters who don't understand how they're supposed to be seeing the sights. It's a very, you've got three focal planes. You got the rear sight, the front sight, and the target, and you're trying to teach them on not just how to visualize that, but also how to line it up on top of that. And so to have an effective training aid for instructors at all levels is one of the other reasons why I got excited about your product. Are you planning to take this show on the road? Are you going to be hitting up some of the trade shows? Are you going to get your face and your product out there? I know SHOT Show's coming up, which isn't always great for small vendors, because they want like $10,000 for a booth there. But there are a lot of shows around the country where you can get your product out. Are you planning on taking your show on the road?
I'd absolutely love to. Unfortunately, it's also fortunately, my commitments is to my current job, which is training Marines to go downrange and do that type of work. So it's not always easy to take leave and go do stuff like that. But along with what you're saying before, there's been a lot of really cool organizations like you, like just several other groups of people that have already offered to do that for me. They say, I'm pushing these for you. I'm taking them to this show or that show. I'd like to do SHOT Show. I have a good amount of friends there that I've met along the way, and I think that I could, get some sort of an audience or something like that. But, ground up guy, like I said, so I don't have the luxury of traveling whenever I want to. I got Marines to train, and we got to make sure that these guys are safe. That's priority number one for me.
Exactly. Yes, that's very true. All right. Well, do you have anything else that you would like to add about your product or about your company?
No, like I said, it's just been it's been a good experience, and these things are all weather. They so far it's been nothing but great feedback, and sometimes the best feedback is the negative feedback, and I'm waiting to hear it because I'll change it immediately. And yep. It's been a good across the board so far, which is a little unexpected. And I appreciate guys like you reaching out to us and giving us an opportunity and helping us spread the word. And for anybody who's listening to this, do the same and reach out to me personally. I will hit you back. My partner and I are my partner's an active duty guy. He's an EOD guy, and he has been direct support for these guys too. And then there's me. It's a 2-man show, and we will get you back if you take the time to reach out to us or help us out.
Excellent. All right. So where can people find you?
So obviously on every single one of the training aids, it's TrainingSightscom. Instagram, it's at TrainingSights. And pretty much that's what we're working with right now.
Good. Okay, yeah, go check it out. If you're listening to this, go check it out on TrainingSights on Instagram because it's mostly other instructors talking about the sites. You guys are doing reposting of what other instructors are saying, and that's probably the best feedback you're going to get on this product. So, well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys are in a year from now. And I'm looking forward to sharing your product with some of the instructors that I talk to locally and across the country, and letting them know about your product. So thank you again, and good luck out there.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you for listening to episode 2 of the Firearms Training Central podcast. Go to firearmstrainingscentral.com, find an instructor near you, find a class coming up near you, and if you're an instructor and you're interested in getting the word out about your classes, please let us know. Contact us at contact@firearmstrainingscentral.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or you can continue listening to this awesome podcast. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to meeting with you guys again next week. In the meantime, train hard and stay safe.